Hi guys, it's Vin with Boris FX, and in this second of 3 tutorials for Vegas, I'm going to show you how to harness the power of Mocha motion tracking to drive your emitters in particle illusion to create this awesome fireworks shot. Now if you're new to particle illusion, I recommend checking out my previous tutorial, Creating a Flaming Sword, to familiarize yourself with the basic working of particle illusion. I've included a link in the description below. But for now, let's take a look at how to use the integrated Mocha motion tracker to drive our fireworks emitter. As before, I'm going to be using emitters found in the Continuum 2019 Particle Emitters package. It's a free download from the Boris FX website, so go ahead and grab that before you begin. Okay, so here I am in Vegas Pro, and I've added my skyline footage to the timeline. I've also gone ahead and applied BCC particle illusion to the clip. Now before I do anything, I want to take a look at the clip itself. As you can see, when I play through it, the camera pans past the city. If we look back at the finished product, what I want to do is make sure that my fireworks remain locked in the scene. They should be part of it, so as the camera moves, it should move past them. Now to do this, the very first thing I want to do is track the motion of my scene. Now I could just start adding emitters, but I'll show you in a bit why it's always best to track the scene first. To enable motion tracking, I'm going to select my Transforms menu. There are 4 available options: None, World, Emitter, and World and Emitter. Each of these specifies a specific way in which Mocha can be used to drive the emitters in particle illusion. None naturally applies no motion tracking to an emitter, while World tracks the motion of a camera in the scene. Emitter tracking, on the other hand, will track the location of an emitter within the scene. World and Emitter naturally will track both. For this scene, all I need to do is track the motion of the camera, so I'm going to select World. When I do, options in the Motion Tracker Mocha subgroup become available. Then I'll click Mocha Motion Tracker to launch the Mocha user interface. In Mocha, I can see that I have 2 trackers available, Emitter and World. By default, they're both located at the center of the screen. The red World Center search area will track the movement of the pixels. I'm going to go and grab it and move it down here to the pier. This is where I'm going to see the most movement and where I'm going to want to locate my fireworks launcher. I'm also going to move the World Center crosshair to the same location. Now I can move it anywhere, but as I said, this is where I want my emitters to be centered, so having it here will speed up my workflow. Now, you'll notice that there's another search area and crosshair here. These are the emitter trackers. For this project, I don't need them, so I'm just going to turn them off over here. Now I could leave them on, but then Mocha would be trying to track them as well as the World tracker, and there's no need to slow things down. So with my World Center set, I'll just track forward and Mocha will do its thing. You'll notice that Mocha locks on and tracks that pretty well, but there is a bit of a drift. This is normal since the perspective is changing. To minimize it, what I can do is select Skew and Perspective to tell Mocha to factor those into tracking. When I retrack, you'll notice that the World search area is changing shape. This is because it's locked onto those pixels, and as the perspective changes, so does the mask. Now that could be a problem if I were trying to do a replace or an insert or something like that. But since all I'm doing is tracking the movement of the scene, this is actually a very good track. And you'll notice that that crosshair is staying firmly locked in place. With my track done, I'm going to go save back to Vegas. If I want to see my track, I can always click Show Motion Path, and Mocha's tracking data will be represented by this line. But don't forget to turn that off before you render. Okay, now that we have a track in place, I'm going to launch the Particle Illusion UI. If I open up the fireworks emitter group, I have access to dozens and dozens of different firework emitters. They're all pretty cool, and I can preview each of them if I want. Now for this, I'm going to select Fireworks Fountain 3. This will create the nice fireworks launcher. Now I'm going to move the CTI forward a bit and place it on my stage right here on the pier. If I play that back, I can see that Particle Illusion is using the Mocha tracking data to lock that emitter in place. So even if I make adjustments, my emitter will always follow the tracking information and remain locked to my scene. And see, this is why I recommend tracking first. Because if I save out and look at the effect in Vegas, I know exactly where my effect is going to be at any given time. But if I turn off the World Transforms or didn't track before applying my emitter, my launcher is just going to float there. It's not part of the scene because Particle Illusion has no idea where it goes. But by turning the tracking data back on, I'm able to focus on creating the artistic look of my scene without having to wonder where my effects are going to end up being. So, if I go back into Particle Illusion, this tracking data is going to apply to every emitter I add to the stage. So I can go in and add more fireworks without the need for constant adjustment or keyframing. And here's the cool thing. If I go back out to Vegas and decide I still need to make adjustments, I can go to the Motion Tracker Mocha group and tweak the offset X and Y to fine-tune the position of those effects. Ultimately, the look of the scene is going to be up to you. Experiment with different emitters, tweak their positions, and even their overall look. One simple thing I like to do is to adjust the zoom of the various firework emitters, making some of them larger or smaller to create depth. Once I have everything the way I like, I'll save out and finish this off by adding some glow. To do that, I can click the checkbox here. This is going to apply glow to the whole scene, and I can adjust the intensity, color, radius, and threshold. But here's the thing. I don't want the glow to affect everything, just the fireworks themselves. So to do this, I have to make a few changes to how the particles are composited. In the composite subgroup, I'm going to change the style from direct to alpha apply mode. This will allow me to select the composite style, normal, screen, multiply, add, etc. For this, normal is going to work fine for what I'm looking for. Once I enable a composite mode, if I go back to my glow settings, I'll have new options available. I can now choose between applying the glow to the whole composition or just the particles themselves. I'll select particles only, and then when I tweak the intensity, radius, and most importantly the threshold, I can further refine the glow to the explosions, but not the smoke or the scene itself. In the original clip, I also added an instance of BCC Vignette to give it a more cinematic look, but ultimately, in the end, that's really all there is to it. I'm Vin Morreale with Boris FX, and for more great tutorials, don't forget to check out the Boris FX website. Take care!